relationship between product ID from the existing table. That's DE sales and CA sales. So that's one of the features of Power BI. That's one of the tools that makes it a smart application for visualization and data modeling. Then when you navigate to the relationship tab, you can view relationship, you can create relationship, and you can also edit existing relationships. So to view the relationship between two existing tables, you hover on the link and right click, you see properties. It shows you the relationship between the two tables. So the relationship between CA sales and product is product ID. That's the one that is grayed out here. Product ID. If you want to see the relationship between DE sales and product ID, and products is also product ID. There's one table here that there's no relationship at all. That's that the relationship has not been created. That's between FR sales and products. So you can just select the column that you want to create a relationship between. That's between product ID on both tables, and click on. You can select the cardinality or leave the default cardinality and direction that Power BI provides, and click on OK. So that relationship line is drawn. In SQL or MySQL, there's an option for actually drawing relationships like this. I think it's called database diagrams under SQL. That's what you used to define entity relationship diagrams. Power BI also has that feature. So even if you're not conversant with SQL, you can do so many things with Power BI. Then another thing you can do is to hide a column. So maybe I don't want this my units column in DA or in FR sales to show. Just right click and hide it in report view, so it doesn't show. It's still a column in the table, but it doesn't show, which means that you can't create any reports with it. So if I come back to my report view and click on FR sales, I don't see units anymore because I've hidden it. You can also create an hierarchy. You can delete from model. That you can delete a column from the model, from the reports, or from the relationship tab. Okay. So now that I've created a relationship between these two columns, these two tables, that's product sales and FR sales, I've created a relationship between I've created a relationship using the product ID, which is common to both columns. I want to do other things. One major thing you can do in Power BI is to create a calculated column. Just like in Excel, where you have your rows and columns of data and you want to do a calculation, maybe you want to do a calculation between two columns, like an addition or a subtraction, or even advanced calculation like random numbers or absolute value, any kind of calculation you can think of. Power BI also has that feature. After all, it's Microsoft that both is the proprietary owner of both applications. So you can create two or more elements of existing data to one column to create a new column. You can even create a calculated column to establish a relationship between the tables, and you can also use to set up a relationship between two tables. So for instance, for my FR sales, I have country, dates, product ID, revenue, and zip code. But I want to know what will be my values, what my values will be if I decide to halve my revenue, or I want to double my revenue by 2. Of course, doubling it by 2. I want to multiply my revenues by 2, or I want to multiply it by 4. You can create a calculated column for that. So to create a calculated column, navigate to reports view on the left side of the screen and click on modeling. So this reports view, modeling, click on new column. When you do so, a column name automatically comes, and it's giving a default column name, much like Excel. Before you name it, when you create a new sheet, it gives it maybe a sheet 1 or sheet 2, depending on the sheet name you use. So I've used column in the past to create a new column. So it has given me a default column name. That's column 2. So now I want this I want to name my column maybe triple revenue, or triple or double revenue, or something, or half revenue. So I want to have my revenue for FR sales. Let me say half revenue FR. So equals to supposed to be under half revenue. So I want to, yes.
Yes, ma. Please, there's someone in the lobby waiting to be admitted into the class.
Oh, I didn't hear the person's beeping. There's nobody from my end. There's nobody here.
Okay, ma.
Okay. I'm 0.5. So if you go to the fields pane, you can see that it has created, I have an extra column that is half revenue. So I just want to add that to a table so that you can compare. So I have a table, I have revenue, and I have half revenue. Okay, I can get that beeping sound now. So half revenue, if you calculate this, half of 148, blah 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 blah, gives you 74,000. So that's what it does. If I, let me say, by product ID. So as you can see, for each revenue that I have, the half revenue column gives me exactly half of that value. So Power BI with Power BI, you can do a whole lot of things. It's not just mathematical calculations like plus and minus. You can do a lot more. So let me, new column. So if I type any letter at all, it gives me all the possible values all the possible calculations I can do. If I say A, for instance, I can find absolute values. I can do accrued interest at maturity, A cosine, A, A cos H, different calculations you can do for everything. You can get your average, you can get your mean, you can get your let me say average for FR sales. So what that will do is that it will give me my average sales. If I just add that instead of my half revenue or my revenue, let me say average sales. So It will give me the average sales per product. So your model allows you to do a whole lot of things. Or rather, the modeling tab allows you to do a whole lot of things. Then, okay, I've touched on. You can also rename a column. When you create a calculated column, you can rename your column. So by default, Power BI gives you column, and then you can just change it to whatever name you prefer. So it's you remember easily. A long list of formulas is provided that you can use for creating column. So from this image, you can see that when I typed AB, I was given a whole long list, a very long list of, so this is 4, but if it were A, as you saw in my previous, what I showed previously, it would have given me something longer. Then other things you can do in modeling, you can create calculated tables, and you can manage time-based data. The same way you can create a calculated column, you can also create a calculated table. So a calculated table is a table that you use a DAX expression to create it, and it gives you a whole new view about your data. So for instance, you can create a calculated table that just stores date value. So in that table is you have your dates that's in your normal long format, like a month, day, month, and year. You can have that. You can do extra columns that will have month only, or day of the month only, or year only, or month number, maybe January, 1 standing for January, 2 standing for February, and things like that. So to create a table in Power BI is the same way you create a calculated column. You go to your reports tab, you click on modeling, and click on new table. Give the table a name, and let me say, so give your table a name and use your DAX formula. Let's see. And use your DAX formula to create a table. So DAX stands for data analysis expression, and it is like the programming language version of Power BI. So it's not a programming language, but it's what you use to create expressions in Power BI, like your formula in Excel. That's what DAX is in Power BI. So if I click on the table that I created, go to data. So this was the table that I created. So I wanted all the values for DE sales to just be copied into my new table, just to show what it looks like. So this is everything exactly the way DE sales is. If you click on DE sales, this is what DE sales is. So that's what you can do with your table, with creating calculated table. As I said earlier, you can also use tables to create dates. Like you can create a whole table that is dates. So if you want to create a date range, maybe from January 2020 to March 2020, or January 2019 to March 2019. Let me just demonstrate that. Modeling new table. So let me see. Date table. Dates. Mm, if you were to figure. Okay. So I use the formula to create dates between that is from CA sales dates between January 1, 2020 and January 12 and December 1, 2020. I doubt if it's going to have any data in it, but let's try. Yeah. Let me change that to let's say 2010. What is sales date? 1999 to 2015. June 13. Okay. In this book. So my formula is wrong, but mm, can't remember the formula for creating this, but you can create dates. Let me see. When you open a previous, let's classify the information. Um, I'm trying to get the formula I used to create dates. Okay. Okay, yeah. So calendar. So calendar. Yeah. So calendar formula is used to create dates between specified periods. So I want to create dates between um 20, let me say 1991 to January. I got somebody. Okay. 1991 January to 2020 June. So this is my date table. So I add my dates. So what this has done is that it has created dates for me between January 1, 1991 and January and June 30, 2020. So if I change this to date instead of date hierarchy, I can see my first dates and my last dates, which is June 30, 2020. So um, that's how to create a calculated table. It's not only dates, as I said earlier, it's not only dates you can use, you can create a calculated, you can use to create a calculated table. You can do so many other things. But I think I've used this most for dates. Um, then, okay, I think this is the last slide. Another thing you can create, another thing you can do in your modeling is to manage time-based data. A lot of data sets that we have comes with dates, and the dates can be in different formats. Sometimes it might be year only, sometimes it might be month, sometimes it might be a regular date like 11th August 2020. And with that, you can use to you can with with Power BI, you can do so many things. So you can visualize your data by quarter, by month, by year. Some companies are interested in maybe their first quarter and their second quarter. Some companies might be interested in their second quarter only. Maybe that's when they close their financial reports. Some are interested in the last quarter. They want to see how maybe Christmas or the holiday or breaks have affected their sales and things like that. And you can manage time-based data with Power BI. Power BI allows you to drill through time-based data by default. When you add a date field in your analysis and enable drill on visualization, it takes you to your next level of time-based data. Let me explain what I mean. So I have data for CA sales and it has dates. Let me just put that on a chart. So I have dates and I have my units sold. So it has given me units by year, but I can drill down further. So if I turn on drill down, I can drill down further to every level of data that I have here. So I have quarter, I have month, I have day. So if I click on the double arrow, it takes me to the quarters. So it doesn't, so this is a sum of all the quarters. So quarter one for, let me see, what's the first year? So quarter one, all quarter one, that's a sum of all the quarter ones from 1998 to 1999 to 2015. I can drill down further and it gives me by month. So January, February, March, just that way. And then it's to give me my units by day. And then I can drill back up again. So with time-based data, Power BI is intelligent enough to allow you drill drill down or drill up, and it's give you the sum or the aggregate or whatever you choose. So by default, this is a sum. So if I want it to be an average, it gives me an average instead, and I can drill down. If I want it to be a count, I can do that as well. So I want to know maybe the volume of units sold instead of the sum of units sold. Power BI allows you to manage time-based data. So with every arrow you click, it takes you to the next level of data. So that's it for data modeling in Power BI. Of course, there are so many things that you can also do when you start experimenting on your own, or when you start playing around with data on your own. There are so many things that you discover as you work with data as time goes on. So if you have any questions about this class or previous class, please let me know. I already sent these files in your former class, in a previous class, but the file did not contain this extra column. So I'll send this PowerPoint slide, which gives an explanation of how to do the different modeling and how to create calculated formula. Does anybody have any questions? Okay. So if there are no questions, that's the end of the class.
Excuse me, ma.
Okay, I'm with you.
All right. I was trying to do some visualizations on my own, and
Okay.
just came to. I was wondering, is there a tool that can be used to create a pivot table in Power BI? Maybe you just illustrate and.
Yes, you can actually you can pivot data, yes, in Power BI. Let me see. CSLs. Modeling. Edit query. Okay. Okay. So I have, let me add this I've changed my data sets. Okay. This is under Power Query Editor. So you click on the table you want to, the data set you want to edit, and you click on the three dots beside it and click on Edit Query. Click on the column you want to pivot and go to Transform and click on Pivot Column. So I want to create a sum or average of the column, and click on OK. So this is it. So for each value, so if for each product, this is the, what did I say it should do?
The average.
Yeah, so average, right? So for each product, it has given me the average, and it has just given it to me on a column. You can convert it to a list. You can convert it. Does that answer your question?
Okay, so like as it is, it's a pivot table now. Is it saved as a separate table? Like,
No, it's not saved as a separate table. It's still the same table. It's still the same product table that I have that I changed.
okay, so what if for instance now the data set I have previously, okay, let me give an example. I have a data set that shows different salespersons and the amount of or the product they sold. Now these
Okay.
different salespersons sell they sold different
Okay.
products. So one salesperson could sell like five,
Yeah.
and each of those products I have the revenue they generated
Yeah.
from those products entirely. And then I want to do a sort of visualization, more like a column chart that indicates
What each person sold.
yeah, the entire revenue. That's from all the products entirely. So I want
Yeah.
to more like pivot the salesperson using the
Okay.
sum of each of the person's, and then I want to use that to create a visual eventually.
Okay.
So yeah.
You can pivot it this way. You just come to Power Query Editor and click on Pivot Column. So long as the tables are related. Do you have a table that is for employee alone or for sales alone?
For sales alone.
Yeah.
So okay,
So
let me check.
so
I,
you can pivot it here, or on your visual itself you can create a legend. Let me
yeah.
explain. So you have so assuming these students product and student tables are related to one another, right? You have this student's ID in your products as well. You can, when you do your charts, let me see, product IDs in Access. So in this column for legend, or this space for legend, you can put employee ID there, or the employee name. So it breaks it down by employee name.
So which place for legend? I'm not seeing.
Can you see this? Can you see where you have axis, legend, values?
Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, 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 yes,
Yes.
yes.
So your axis will be maybe your date. I don't know what is on what will be on your axis. So your value will be sales, or sales amount, or revenue, or something. Then where you have legend, you put in the employee name or employee ID. So it breaks it down for you. So what you have done is sales by employee ID.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, okay. I think I get. I'll try that. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. Any other question, please?
Hello, ma.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay, ma, I would like to know as regards writing that statement. Um,
Yeah.
is it is there a syntax to writing it? Because I must confess,
Okay.
I didn't really get.
Okay. So there's another class for DAX, for writing
Okay,
DAX code, but every DAX code starts with equals to, just like just like Excel, your Excel formulas. Every DAX code starts with equals to, and then the name of your variable, or the name of your column, or the name of your table. So equals to name and then your formula. You can combine um, more than one DAX code in a sentence. You get, but
okay,
every one of them starts with equals to your formula name or your variable name, and then the formula you want to assign.
okay. Then also ma, about creating tables and columns.
Yeah.
I'm trying to understand the distinct difference because I feel that I mean you could just create a column in an already existing table.
Yes.
So
Yes.
so I want to
So
know why. Okay, I want to know
continue your question.
why we have to create another table. I don't know if you get me.
Okay. So creating a table is not a hard and fast rule. It depends on your own requirements. And creating a column also is not a hard and fast rule. It depends on your requirements. So
Okay,
okay, let me paint a scenario for you. So you have a table like this, our date table. Where's this now? So this is our date table. It has it has dates. It's a created table. It has only dates. But I want this date table to have things like month name, um, month name. That's January, February, things like that. I can use a created column. I can create a column for that. So maybe let's say new column. So I'm creating a column in that table. Let's say equals month. So what it does is that it's going to return a number from 1 to 12. I say so for everywhere you have January, it will give you one. So a column is just, I just want the column for my own convenience. So everything depends on the requirements of your visualization of what you are doing, or or whatever it is you are doing. Everything, there's no rule saying that you have to create a column when you're visualizing, or you have to create a table. It depends on what you want to do.
okay, ma. Thank you, ma. Then another thing, why creating a table, ma? Um,
Yeah.
is it possible because I noticed that while you were trying to create the date table using the
Yeah.
date before, you were trying to reference CA sales, but I don't know, maybe that's why it didn't work. I don't know, but what I
Yes,
want
it
to
don't
ask
work.
that is it possible to reference while creating a new table? Is it possible to reference a column in an already existing table in your
Let's
um,
try it. Let's try it. Oh, I don't have any other table that has dates here. Yeah. I don't have any table that has dates here.
Okay.
Mm, yeah. But I've created a column before, table
Ma-
before, that has unfortunately I can't show you because it's some of the data sets I have or some of my visualization are confidential.
okay. But ma,
That
maybe just
is the that I gave it a specific date to start from, and then the date it should end was the from another table.
okay.
Was the
Ma,
date, yes, so I referenced another table.
okay. Okay, ma. Actually, what I was trying to say is this. Take for instance, we have like we have CA sales now. Maybe we want to get
Yeah.
just um the product ID from CA sales. Are you with me, ma? That's from CA sales table. We just want to get the product ID from CA
Yes.
sales. Then from the product table, we want to get the product name from CA
Yes, you
from
can.
product table. Okay.
You can.
Okay, we want to put it in another table entirely.
That you can do that with DAX calculation.
Okay. Can you demonstrate that for us, ma'am?
Let me add my data set.
Okay, ma'am.
So you want to get the maximum. So you want to get, what exactly do you want to get?
Okay, I was saying that if you want to get, okay, we have product and student table here. I don't, but I was saying, take for instance, maybe like the student table, if it was something like products, um, no, if it was okay, I was trying to see a relationship between CSS table and product table, so that if we want to create another table whereby we can call the product ID, or yeah, product ID in CA sales, and the product name in the product table.
Okay,
I
yeah, you
think
can do that.
okay.
You can do that. So since there's a relationship between, we already have an existing relationship between products ID and CA sales, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So if I do a table and I have in my table I have products name and revenue. Is this what you mean? So instead of, and I have products, but originally on this table is product ID I have, but I've come to select product name. and then revenue. Is this what you're looking for? Is this what it does this answer your question?
Mm, not exactly, man. I guess maybe I'm not so clear with my question.
Okay,
Not exactly.
ask it again. Ask it again.
Okay, I was talking about, why we're trying to create tables with dark
Yeah,
statements. Maybe the
yeah.
reason why I'm mixing it up is since you said we are still going to look into dark statements more explicitly. But I was
Okay.
wondering that is there a way to create another table, not using like when you created tables, it shows on this field column that another table has been created, and we are able to see that okay, a table
Yes.
with so name
Yeah.
has been created. So I was wondering, not
Yeah.
visualization now, I was wondering if we could create um, another table like that, in that way, using dark statement, such that we just call the product ID from the CA sales, then we call the product name from the product table.
Okay.
Did you get me, ma?
Yeah. So you want product name from the
I want product ID,
okay. I've
product
never
ID
tried it
from.
before, but let's try it. Mm-hmm. And then what?
And product
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 name.
name from the product
Okay.
table.
Okay. So it's saying all columns must be from the same table. So mm, no, I don't think that's possible. Or maybe I've never worked on something like that before, so I'm not sure. But if it can show this way, if it can show this way on a visual, then you can use you should be able to use a DAX formula to get it.
Achieve it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Any other question before we round up for the day? Okay. In the absence of any question, I'm going to round up the class and have this sent over to you.